Hello, good evening, and welcome to Joy News Prime on a day that we're all protesting against illegal mining. Now, government has deployed military men in the renewed fight against illegal mining, where the military men have burned some 18 Shamfan machines, as well as several earth-moving equipment in this renewed clash against Galamsey.
In all, we were able to destroy about 18 Shamfans that were on the water bodies.
Also coming up, magistrate expresses frustration about the LGBT demonstration that occurred, and they are blaming the organizers for not doing the right thing. Also coming up today, we'll take you to the labor unions to find out what exactly is happening. You know, UTAG declared a strike action. We'll bring you updates on that. And, dozens of military men armed to the teeth are returning to base after combing the Brim River and destroying equipment of illegal miners whose activities are polluting the river. Now, the soldiers burnt Shamfan machines, water pumps, and any other equipment that helped illegal miners to extract gold from the water body. Now, as part of his response to the demands by Labour, President Akufo-Addo directed the Minister for Defence to deploy additional military forces to intensify Operation Halt, which aims to curb illegal mining. Now, Maxwell Agbaba captured the moment the soldiers deployed surveillance drones before moving in to destroy the equipment. He reports that soldiers also used naval boats to comb the Brim River to reach and destroy equipment of illegal miners, including Shamfan machines, which were on the river bodies, which the illegal miners used in polluting the river. Watch this.
In some minutes, the militia is going to blow up that earth-moving machine that was being used to mine in this forest, and the access to lie down this way, and that is what they're going to use to blow up this machine. He's counting down 3. And then he'll blow it up. It's gonna be so loud. Well, so that just happened.
Now you can go, feel free and go.
They just blew up that earth-moving machine. That was quite a complicated process. So that is the end result of the explosion that just happened here. And one of the soldiers tells me that there's nothing that can be done about this machine again. It can never be used again.
Okay, so let's come this way. Where is the table? Bring it here, pull it back. Come, let's go this way.
As you can see that the water is very, very, very heavily polluted. As a result of that, you can see the color of the water have changed drastically, and it's something that is very bad. If you look at the water, how they polluted it, the illegal miners polluted it, it's not good. Actually, the state of the waters are bad. Actually, it's bad. That's what I can say. And we are determined, we as a small-scale miners association, we are determined to help so that we can clean all of those who are doing the illegal mining in the water bodies. We want to flush them out so that the water will be safe for everybody to use in Ghana.
In all, we were able to destroy about 18 Shamfans that were on the water bodies, and then about 10 machines, water pumping machines also on the water bodies. This is an effort to help bring back the color of our water bodies.
Part of the marching orders to the military on this Operation Halt campaign against illegal mining is to destroy every illegal mining equipment used in mining in water bodies and forest reserves. And that is exactly what personnel here on the ground are doing. All equipment belonging to the illegal miners have been completely destroyed. They poured fuel into them. You can see plumes of smoke now going up as they are bent completely, destroyed completely.
That was my colleague Maxwell Agbaba capturing the moment when all of the action was or were taking place around the Brim River, where illegal miners have been polluting the river body with their illegal activities. You can see the soldiers operating in a cocoa farm, getting ready to get to, the site to destroy the equipment there. We'll still keep an eye on this particular, situation and get you all the update. But for now, let's bring in Dr. Richmond Aqua Coleman, who's president of the Ghana Psychological Association. He joins me on the phone now. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, would you say that our failure to deal with galamsey is, a behavioral problem or a systemic one?
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening to you, Kojo, and good evening to your cherished viewers and, of course, listeners to us as well. I must say that the failure for us to deal with this issue of illegal mining or galamsey is both systemic and behavioral. From a systemic point of view, it shows that there are lapses in our governance system, there are lapses in our legal regime. It shows that there are some form of corrupt activities, and also we are getting high-ranking officials or traditional leaders even involved in all this. Apart from that, of course, the lack of alternative economic activities or livelihoods are part of the systemic issues. But from a behavioral point of view, we want to look at the economic motivation that compels people to actually go into illegal mining. Because it is for the love of money. And we know that we are dealing with precious minerals, quite expensive, that even when you get something small and you sell it, you can become rich overnight. So the desire to become rich, and of course we live in a country where we have a culture where we don't really question the source of people's money. Once people are happy, we give them all the respect. Okay. So all these things are part of the kind of motivations that tend to reinforce some of these negative behaviors today we are trying to fight. So if you ask me, it is both a mixture of systemic and behavioral factors.
But really, is there, you talk about alternative livelihood. Is there anything that can substitute this activity that they indulge in?
Well, of course, that is some kind, because you know that these are farming areas too as well. So it's a farming area, so we know that people are involved in either agriculture or they are into fishing or animal rearing and all that. So first of all, there is some form of activity, economic activity, just that compared to the illegal mining, the illegal mining is more lucrative than this. And we also need to face it. These are natural resources. These are minerals. They are under the soil. I'm sure they are not there for decoration. They are there to be exploited, actually. So the problem is not about mining per se, but it is the methods that are being used that is impacting on our river bodies and then our forest reserve. So for me, if you ask me, going forward, and this is part of my proposal, maybe long-term proposal, that it is about how we charge our technology institutions, especially University of Science and Technology, University of Science and Technology, the scholars, yes, to come up with some sustainable way of mining, an intervention that our mining can without destroying the river or in our forest, because somehow these resources have to be exploited. How do we do it? How do we do that sustainably? And so we will need some of these researchers, these engineers, these scholars to come up, we were cocoa farmers. You have to put a lot of laborers around. They have to crack a cocoa. You have people who are just cracking with a machete and all that. The Chinese got involved. They created a certain machine that can do this with ease and crack cocoa, and you are able to do this effortlessly. So it is important that we start now also in the long run, think about some some sustainable intervention or practices or way of mining that will not really impact on our water body.
Okay.
So if you ask that, are there any alternative? I think that yes, there are some alternatives, like just that it might not be lucrative compared to
Okay. Now, today we are reporting about the deployment of military who have been armed to the teeth. Now, after several years of doing this without any meaningful results, must we continue this way?
Well, let me say that, of course, you are right to say that we have done this before, and the situation is even worse, because the last time I remember there was something like Operation Galamstop or what have you. So if at this point we are still deploying another badge or set of military, then it is a conversation to be had whether we should continue this way. But I must say that given the heat of the moment, an approach like this is good and is commendable, at least temporarily in the short run or as a stopgap measure, because this approach is more likely to curb the activity in the short term, especially when the military are seen to be working. They are actually doing what we all expect them to do, not that providing some kind of shield and allowing work. But if they are going there, we are getting to know that they are actually catching the big fishes that we know. Then people will begin to trust that, oh, this process is working. But once again, this is not the main approach, because the systemic and which underpins illegal mining are still there. So this is just a stopgap measure. Going forward, we need to begin to think through this, bring all stakeholders on board, behavioral experts like psychologists or engineers, environmentalists, to come together and see if we can come up with a proper social intervention that really can help us stop this behavior once and for all. But the presence of the military is good for the start for now, to ensure that at least this activity is brought to a halt.
Now, psychologically, what will be the impact of the presence of the military men in these communities, both positive and negatively?
Well, positively, of course, it will bring some sense of security, because some of these mining areas, sometimes there are some lawlessness and violence around. So the presence of the military around itself can bring some sense of security and bring about some peace and make people go about their business. And then also, we also know that it is also going to lead to some deterrent. People who are thinking or trying to consider illegal mining, start thinking twice. Now they know that the military is there. If care is not taken, they could be arrested or they could be dealt with by the military. So that is fine. And also, it also provides some sense of assurance that some effort is being made on the part of government to protect the natural resources or to protect the environment from further degradation. So it's a very good thing. The only thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that this is supposed to be a stopgap measure, because the continuous presence of the military after some time can even erode the trust that people have in government. Because after some time, if the military keeps being there and there's no economic activity, alternative livelihood, it will then look like their presence is becoming punishing. It is depriving them of their livelihood. And we have seen instances elsewhere where now the community people begin to now turn against government and start to fight back. So while the military is there, in the short run, it will provide some sense of security. But like I said, we need to start thinking about long-term strategy to stop this phenomenon.
Okay. Well, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. So that is Dr. Richmond Akwa-Coleman. Still staying with Galamsey and what government intends to do or government is doing to fight it. The Agric Minister, Brian Achampon, says government is committed to dealing with the Galamsey menace. He has, however, maintained that community support is needed to deal with this challenge, as the government cannot do it alone. Now, the Agric Minister has been speaking to my colleague, George Weafe.
It frightens me. I mean, we cannot allow Galamsey to, if Galamsey continues, we wouldn't have water for irrigation, because we will be affecting the final product, which is the crops that we consume. So it frightens me, and it's something that we have to find. We need to have a national dialogue on it. The issue is now elevated. It's an existential threat to all of us. our water, our food, okay, the livelihoods of the people in the community that are being ravaged by galamsey. And it's something that we need to have a national dialogue about it and agree on what needs to be done. Because galamsey is illegal. Now we're left with enforcement.
Yeah. And something the backstops with a senior minister like you in government to make the proposals and make sure that it is done, because it has implications on our food supply.
But I'm saying that everything that government is doing about galamsey, when we say government, it's you and I go in, or the soldiers go in, okay, if we spread the 34,000 soldiers in the country and you spread them throughout Ghana, 34,000 soldiers, they will not be able to even stop galamsey in Ashanti region. You need the communal effort, okay? Not only the enforcement by central government. You need a mindset change by the people in the community, okay? That when you fight the people that are destroying your land, that are polluting your waters, and when you have backup, the security people come in. But if you just wait for central government, for the lack of a better word, to bring in police people or to bring in soldiers, they don't come and stay there. They come and perform an act and they leave. And the people are in the community. The soldiers are in, okay, let's stop. They go, we come back. But you need a community to take charge. You need the community, and it requires some level of understanding, education.
However, the executive director of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is calling for the elevation of the status of the entity to better fight galamsey. Now, according to him, the mandate of the organization is only limited to reporting activities of illegal miners to the law enforcement agencies when they are caught, limiting the extent at which they can go in dealing with environmental reporters. The following report has more.
Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, John Kingsley Krugu, has called on Parliament to grant his institution greater powers in its fight against illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey. Appearing before Parliament's Assurance Committee, Dr. Krugu revealed that the EPA's current status limits its authority to reporting offenders to law enforcement agencies.
We have a headquarters here in Accra, we have regional offices, and then we have area offices. Area offices in the sense that you may have an office in one district, but it is overseeing a number of other districts because we do not have offices in those ones. And in the last few years, it's been almost an annual affair that we make a case to the Ministry of Finance to try and get support to extend our tentacles to every district as required by the law you are quoting.
Taking a stand before the Assurance Committee, Transport Minister Kweku Esiama, when asked about what his ministry is doing concerning the substantial increase in domestic air tickets, said they're engaging the airline operators on ways to reduce ticket prices and will not hesitate to introduce regulations to compel them to do so if dialogue doesn't yield results.
I know that in 2017, we even remove VAT on internal tickets just to give some relief to our party. They are only complaining about cost of operations. And one particular thing they are talking about is that when they bring in spare parts for any repairs, they charge tax on it. And my position to them, that shouldn't be the only factor to account for such huge. But Mr. Chairman, my only situation, the only thing I can say, maybe perhaps they are taking advantage, knowing our inability or knowing that we don't have some of these facilities. They are taking advantage of it. But like, I think that I'm taking the cue from what the honorable member said. If the engagement fails, we have no option than to bring in regulation. And that one, I'm prepared to do it.
Now, other issues came up during the sit-in where both men answered questions pertaining to their jurisdiction. From Parliament House, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
But don't think you are spared or the impact of Galamsey, because you may probably be living away from Galamsey impacted communities, because the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is warning that illegal mining, properly known as Galamsey, is severely impacting the country's nutrition. Now, speaking at the 9th Nutrition Conference, President of the Academy, Professor Kingsley Kojo Asare Prekon, highlighted that the leaching of chemicals from Galamsey operational areas into water bodies, which is affecting the quality of fish, food crops, and land used for agricultural production. Now, he emphasized the urgent need to stop illegal mining to prevent future nutritional crises, especially for the poor and vulnerable who cannot afford imported water. This report has more.
The 9th Nutrition Conference that offered a rallying grounds to think about the development of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, President of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Professor Kingsley Kojo Asare Prekon, bemoaned how Galamsey is affecting the food crops the country depends on.
The outcome of this conference, basically, one is to come up with a position on the state of our nutrition in the changing world, and importantly also to bring up evidence that could also guide policy discussions and programming for nutrition in Africa. Right, Galamsey has a lot to do on our nutrition. First of all, there's some leaching of these chemicals that are used in this business of Galamsey into our water bodies that affects our fish, that affects our land, that affects the production that we get from in our foods. It is very important that we stop this matter now to save the future. Importantly, its effect on our water bodies is something that is very, very alarming. Very few people can grapple with buying water from imported water. Even what we are producing in this country, we find it difficult to buy. And so this aspect of this destruction that is happening on our water bodies is something that we should be very concerned, because these chemicals that are used in mining also have very debilitating effect on children, most especially mothers, and also on our well-being. Its effect we can see in the changing in the changing situations that we have in our time.
Now, away from that, the Association of Magistrates and Judges is condemning recent protests organized against the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court for little action on the cases brought against the anti-LGBTQ bill. The protesters, led by co-sponsor and MP for Ningo Prampram Sam George, says the Supreme Court has simply failed to live up to its responsibilities, stalling the progress of the bill passed by Parliament. But President of the Association of Magistrates and Judges himself, a Supreme Court judge, Justice Henry Kofi, accused the protesters of insulting the judiciary and the Chief Justice, and also seeking to break into the Apex Court.
Specifically in respect of Richard Sky against Parliament of Ghana and the Attorney General, the registrar's statement showed clearly that there is pending before the Supreme Court an application filed on 1st October 2024 by Counsel for the Parliament of Ghana, which is the first defendant. That is a motion for extension of time to file the first defendant, Parliament's statement of case. Now that application, which as you know is pending, is yet to be heard by the court. In effect, Richard Sky and Amano Odoi cases are not ripe for hearing. And the press release of the Supreme Court Registrar made that very clear to everyone who read the press release. And yet, in spite of this clear statement by the registrar on the sequence of events in the case, on Tuesday, 8 October 2024, a group of people went on demonstration and sought to enter the Supreme Court premises premises. Not only did these demonstrators seek to enter the Supreme Court premises, but they shouted abuses and insults at the judiciary as a whole, at Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, and demanded that judgment should be given in their favor in the LGBTQ cases.
Justice Henry Kofi described the conduct of the protesters led by the MP as irresponsible. He insists the cases are not yet ripe for hearing.
Of the demonstrators and their leaders, one of whom was a member of parliament, and the behavior they put up, the insults, left much to be desired. It is worth pointing out that every court, from the district court through to the Supreme Court, has a procedure that has to be followed by every litigant before the case will be ripe for hearing. And no judge, not even Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, can torpedo that procedure and the rules of court. When people who are supposed to know better seek to stampede the judiciary, to attack the judiciary and to cause mayhem, that is a threat to the judicial institution and all that it stands for. How could anybody who knows and who should know better and who knows that his case is not even ripe for hearing get up, shout from the rooftop and ask for judgment to be given in that case? How can a court give judgment in a case to which the parties have not finished filing the requisite processes?
Yes, it's still Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with more, please. Don't go away. Welcome back from the break now. With only 58 days remaining until this year's parliamentary and presidential elections, the demand for good roads, improved healthcare, functional harbour and job creation remains a top priority for the constituent of Keta. Now, in this edition of Constituency Lens, Carlos Carloni takes us on a journey to the shores of Keta and its street and bustling market, offering insights into the concerns at the hearts of voters. Here is more.
For me to vote this year, 2024, I have 3 issues that I want the government to address for me, or any political party coming for their manifesto. I want to see that reflects in their manifesto. The first one is premise. It's been long we have premise here, and then when our fisher force goes to fish, the price of fish becomes high because what they use, the petrol they use, is very expensive.
I want us to see through their manifesto that they have good idea for we the youth, because we the youth we cannot vote, and at the end of the day or at the end of the year we are not seeing anything from them.
It's a rainy Friday here in the Keta market, and I'm standing in the middle of the Olin Road that leads to the market.
Before this year's election, I want to see the roads in Keta constructed to at least a standard, because the roads has been like this for a very long time. And you see, today it rained. It wasn't even a heavy rain, but look at the roads. The sea defense too has been a problem, because if you ask me to show you where I grew up in Keta, I wouldn't be able to, because the sea has swept it away.
Firstly, I would say the lagoon, which is one of our major fishing rights, it needs a drainage. They need to dredge it in a way so that they can be much fish that we can. As the sea is not giving us enough, so we can be able to go to the lagoon, also catch some things, and also make our way.
Before I vote 2024 election, if they bring their manifesto, I'll go through. But what I need is good road. Right from time, I'm having a bad road in Keta Central. And then the market, they have to change the market. And then the sea defense project, and the health, that's all I need.
Well, here in the Keta constituency, one of the key concerns of constituents in this constituency has to do with health. Many of them have issues with eyesight, and they expect the aspirants to come and address this particular concern for them. as they go into the 2024 general election. Right here in the Keta constituency, hundreds of constituents have health issues when it comes to sites. And those you can see here are people who are undergoing surgeries here at the Keta Government Hospital. Come closer to me. What's your name?
I'm Eunice Aram Henyu.
Okay, so why are you here?
I'm here for an eye surgery.
What exactly is wrong with your eye?
I've been told it's pterygium.
My key issue for me to vote this 2024, number one is the health.
So I'm feeling that we should be giving more education on the eye issue, because it's a general thing that is not only affecting this community, but it's a global, let me say, it's a national issue that need to be addressed.
Well, it's still hashtag Stop Galamsey. Now I'll bring you back what our cameras captured when my colleague Maxwell Agbaba joined the policemen to travel on the Brim River.
In some minutes, the militia is going to blow up that head moving machine that was being used to mine in this forest, and the access to lie down this way, and that is what they're going to use to blow up this machine. He's counting down 3, and then he'll blow it up. It's going to be so loud. Well, so that just happened.
Now you can go, feel free and go.
They just blew up that earth moving machine. That's quite a complicated process. So that is the end result of the explosion that just happened here. And one of the soldiers tells me that there's nothing that can be done about this machine again. It can never be used again.
Okay, so let's come this way. Where is the table? Bring it here. Pull it back. Come, let's go this way.
As you can see that the water is very, very, very heavily polluted. As a result of that, you can see the color of the water have changed drastically, and it's something that is very bad. If you look at the water, how they polluted it, the illegal miners polluted it, it's not good. Actually, the state of the waters are bad. Actually, it's bad. That's what I can say. And we are determined, we as a small-scale miners association, we are determined to help so that we can clean all of those who are doing the illegal mining in the water bodies. We want to flush them out so that the water will be safe for everybody to use in Ghana.
In all, we were able to destroy about 18 champagnes that were on the water bodies, and then about 10 machines, water pumping machines also on the water bodies. This is an effort to help bring back the color of our water bodies.
Part of the marching orders to the military on this Operation Halt campaign against illegal mining is to destroy every illegal mining equipment used in mining in water bodies and forest reserves. And that is exactly what personnel here on the ground are doing. All equipment belonging to the illegal miners have been completely destroyed. They poured fuel into them. You can see plumes of smoke now going up as they are bent completely, destroyed completely.
And that's how we wrap up today's bulletin. There's more on myjoyonline.com.